You know, I've been a little optimistic going into next generation, but one thing is for certain, I am definitely looking forward to the gems that we will get out of next generation, especially with the rumors that are surfacing as we speak. If you guys did not hear, Bully 2, yes, Bully 2, the casting calls have been released, and it's a rumor, so take this with a grain of salt. But then again, you can also have a little bit of context to this. Rockstar did say, Rockstar did say that after that their next project would be after Red Dead Redemption 2. As you guys already know, Red Dead Redemption 2 launches this month. So with that being said, man, I don't know. It's a little hard to say this is a rumor. It really is, especially with the long wait time. They did say that they weren't done with Bully 2. Now, some people might say, well, what about GTA 6? I really don't think GTA 6 will be ready by the time that a lot of people think. GTA 6 is one of those games that they really take their sweet time with, and for obvious reasons. They add a lot of detail and they add a lot of things for you to do, especially if we count the fact that GTA Online was by far one of the biggest success for the company. I mean, the game is always in the top 10 just off of GTA Online by itself. You know, and not just counting the fact that the game was great. No, GTA Online has added even more playability to Grand Theft Auto 5. So, many people are also speculating for Red Dead Redemption 2 that they will also follow the same formula for that particular game and add an online style for that with, you know, the same type of flow, so to speak, of GTA. Now, I actually do believe that somewhat. I do believe that they will add heists and whatnot for Red Dead Redemption 2. So don't put it past them. It might come in a later date, just, you know, a little later down the road, but I'm pretty sure they will add it. But as of right now, you know, they're focusing heavily on the story, which is the smart thing to do for Red Dead because it is a story-driven game. But as far as Bully 2 is concerned, what we know so far about the game, and especially for those who actually played it, we know that he's in college as we speak, and we know that he is looked at as a hero. He is no longer looked at as the jerk, so to speak. Now, he's looked at as the hero.
Sherman! Hey! What the fuck are you doing here? Sherman!
Okay, Stifler, take your shot. Haha.
No, come on, man. I'm really happy to see you.
All right.
You stupid fuck!
What they're going to do with the game, we do not know. What new villains is going to be, especially, we do not know. But who knows, though? They might actually add more elements similar to what they did with GTA Online, such as races, go-kart races, and things of that nature. There might be two-player co-op. You never know. It's a lot of cool things that they can do with Bully. Bully is one of those games that just was fun as hell, and it was a nice, interesting refresh type of look on games. I actually do like that game a lot, and I actually played it again on PS4 not too long ago and decided to go for platinum for it. So I might actually get it for PS3 again. I don't know, just relive it again. It's just one of those games that you really don't get tired of. It's just fun. But that's what we got so far for Bully 2. So let's get on with the next one here with the PS5. All right, so with the PS5, now I actually didn't cover some of the stuff here. The reason why is because it was pretty self-explained, if you ask me, but nonetheless, I'm definitely going to touch upon it as well. For the PlayStation 5, we have the possibility that it could have Vsync and backwards compatibility, according to a patent. Now, the whole backwards compatibility thing, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's not really that big of a surprise to me. I know some of you might be surprised by that, but it's really not that surprising for most of us who caught on to it. The reason why it's not surprising is because the PS5 is a PC, just like the PlayStation 4 is pretty much a PC. Now, what makes them PCs? Well, by default, as the route Sony has gone so far, with the PlayStation 4, they went with x86 architecture, which is pretty much your standard PC architecture. It's simple, it's powerful, and efficient. They went with that for simplicity when it came to game creation. This is why Mark Cerny came out in 2013 when he first showed it off at the February 20th conference, and he stated that the PlayStation 4 became the first ever console built by game creators for actual game creators. This is what he meant. The PlayStation 4 is a powerful and accessible system based off of the architecture and how easy it is to develop for. So for them to have backwards compatibility is really a no-brainer. The PlayStation 5 will most certainly follow that trend, and again, it's understandable. Now, for the games that are rumored, or for the platforms that are rumored to be backwards compatible with it, such as the PlayStation 1 games, PlayStation 2 games, and PlayStation 4 games, the PlayStation 3 will not be on the list in terms of games that are backwards compatible. And here's why, and a lot of people tend to get this mixed up. The reason why PlayStation 3 is not backwards compatible with PlayStation 5 or 4 is because PlayStation 3 used a very completely different architecture. It was completely hard to develop for one, and it was definitely one of those things that is tricky to work or basically to get to work with the new systems. They're using completely different architectures. And the cell architecture, even though they talked about it again in February, back when they first showed off the PS4, there was another interview, they talked about how they could get more performance out of the PlayStation 3 with that particular cell architecture. The development for it is ridiculous. It's hard. It's terrible. You know what I'm saying? It's not a great accessible thing for it. So for them to basically get games on the PlayStation 5 and 4 from the PS3, it would be hard, which is why you got most of your games from PlayStation 3 to 4 to be remasters rather than be actual ports. You notice that The Last of Us Remastered is not a traditional port. It's actually completely remastered. They had to rebuild the game up from the ground up to get it to work for the PlayStation 4, and that's basically what happened with all PlayStation 3 games. So sadly, that's not going to be on the table. All right, but one particular thing in the patent that they did talk about that kind of has people looking at it a little weird, and some people don't know what this is Vsync. Now, Vsync or vertical sync is one of the main options that you guys see on PC. Microsoft they incorporated this with the Xbox One X. With the Xbox One X, this particular thing pretty much gimped the performance of the game for the most part. Some people did not like it or did not understand why this was such a big deal, and here's why. Vertical sync by default pretty much locks your game, okay? It locks your game to the refresh rate of your monitor. That's what it does. You cannot go above 60 frames per second by default with this is turned on PC, and by console standpoints, they literally just lock it to the refresh rate of the monitor. Now, when you have this on and you have a game, so to speak, that is running at 60 frames per second, but not necessarily performing at 60 frames per second, you're going to run into a few errors, such as screen tearing. Now, screen tearing is something that is very common with the Xbox One X, especially when you put the Xbox One X games, most notably Shadow of the Tomb Raider. If you paid attention on the left side of the screen, you will get screen tearing. Screen tearing basically occurs when the video feed to the source or the device is not in sync with the display refresh rate. Meaning, if the game is not 60 frames per second and the game and the actual console is locked to your refresh rate of your monitor to 60, and the console can't deliver that, you will have problems with your screen. Your screen will not deliver your image in the way that it's supposed to be delivered. 60 frames per second needs to be your norm, basically, what I'm basically implying with this, if they were to go this route. I do not want this, nor do I think this is okay, but I mean, they will have better processors in the PlayStation 5 and in the new Xbox, but even with the new processors and X amount of things, I mean, it's a little, I don't know, it seems a little forced for me to talk about it in that way, you know? I don't really care as much about the Vsync as I would want to, but at the same time, I don't want it to be an option that's just toggled and we're stuck with it. If it's going to be an option for gamers, then definitely turn it off. I mean, it will definitely encourage people to learn a little bit more about PC in the long run if you're going to incorporate Vsync on a PS5 and, of course, the Xbox Scarlet. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say, though. We need to see more specifications to know what exactly can they get out of this. But they claim they're going to get more performance out of these games. The best thing you'll get with Vsync, to be fair, is that you'll get more stable games. But again, like I said, if it doesn't match the source, if these, the CPU or whatever, if the game's just not going to run up to par, you're going to have some issues very similar to the Xbox One X, which is screen tearing and a few other things. So that's basically what that's going to imply in the long run. Just throwing it out there. In other news, though, PlayStation Vita production is over. They're ending it. Now, Not really surprised by this at all. PlayStation Vita was a cool handheld. It just didn't have this mega seller. That was the problem with the Vita. It didn't have the mega seller. If it had the mega seller, it would have done phenomenal. I think it would have been a great addition to the PlayStation's family. Unfortunately, though, it just, it didn't do anything for the PlayStation. Now, it was cool to have, though. It had a lot of cool features. It was the strongest handheld on the market at the time. And, even with the power, that kind of goes back to the Xbox One X kind of thing, right? It had the power in the market, but it just didn't have the games that drove it to success. You look at the PSP, the PSP Go, and all that jazz, those particular handhelds had games behind them that made you want to buy that particular one. Whether it was one that you wanted to buy because you liked the way that one looked or whatever, it still had games that drove you to it. Yeah, I still remember from my PSP, I had Liberty City Stories on mine. I had Ape Escape Academy, and I had so many other ones. So there was definitely a lot of cool stuff to be added for the Vita, which I was surprised they didn't even bother to do. I was surprised that they missed the opportunity to get more games like that on the Vita. The only game that really stood out for me personally on the Vita, and I was shocked that it looked that good for a Vita game, was Uncharted: The Lost or Golden Abyss. That was the last one that looked good, So the fact they're in production, not really surprised, but the next information right here might actually have people talking about it, but they need to understand that it's not true as well. And the next news is up here is that the PlayStation 5 may launch with a portable device. Now, again, I know I just said they just ended production for the Vita, but let's really look at this as is. Let's get into this. Let's read the story. The rise of smartphone gaming and the success of the Nintendo Switch may have Sony considering another portable device next generation. A recent Financial Times article shares rumors that Sony could be considering a portable component for its next PlayStation. But before you go telling your friends that we're getting another PS Vita, you may want to consider this rumor carefully. According to the article, Sony might be planning a tablet that will connect to multiple devices as online streaming of games becomes more widespread, and the company seeks to derive ever greater synergies between its games and its movie divisions. So, right off the bat, it tells you right there that it's going to be a tablet, but it's most certainly not going to be a Vita. This is going to be something that they're going to be doing for the fact that pretty much everything wants to be streaming based, right? So they want to go that streaming route. If they do go that streaming route, they'll have this to accommodate those people to go with it. Now, what exactly will it do? Something tells me it'll just play a factor in what PSN will do. Like, as we go further on, as you guys know, we're pretty much going to probably get a revamped PSN with the PlayStation 5 or a new look for PSN, which is typical, right? It might be something like that, because remember, the big thing for the PlayStation 4 when we first saw it in 2013 was the new PSN. The new PSN, they showed off the new interaction we can have with friends, the conversations you can have, and just the cool ways that you guys can pretty much, talk to one another or throw shade at one another. For example, that one dude that was talking to the girl that he had a crush on, he was commenting on her trophies like her platinum for knack. He was leaving her messages and she was leaving him messages, right? And then they went and still were talking away from the console with the app. So something tells me the app is going to be more improved and they're going to have more stuff connected with this tablet going forward as well. Obviously, a lot of people forgot about the PlayStation app. I actually still use mine. I use it for messaging and a few things as well. So that's pretty cool. So that's pretty much it for that one. A lot of cool stuff for the PlayStation 5. I'm still looking forward to it, regardless of the fact that we're heading in a direction that, could possibly be streaming only, which I am not a fan of, but I am still hyped for the new hardware, as in typical cases. That's what gamers do. We hype up everything. Okay? So definitely. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely hit that like button. I do appreciate it as always. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. Stay up to date. Definitely. And hope you guys enjoyed. You guys have a blessed one, man. PlayStation 5, what do you guys think? Rumors continue to flow through. More people are excited. More people are hyped. Me personally, again, I'm just looking at it as is, man. A new generation might also bring a new generation worth of problems. Okay, maybe not, but still, I'm looking at it like that. You know, I'm looking at everything, just keeping a close eye on a few things. Hopefully, we'll have more, and everything will continue to be as great as gaming continues to move forward. All right, you guys have a blessed one. Y'all be safe, be easy, and I'll see you guys later. Deuces.